Another text by Suyuti. Yesterday we had a colleague talking about al-Suyuti. Today we are talking about two more texts of Suyuti. From Cairo to Sokoto, Abdullahi done Fodio's didactic renditions of al-Suyuti's al-Itqān and al-Nuqāya in 19th century West Africa. Dahir, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for this presentation. As you see, my topic is about Sheikh Abdullahi bin Fodio and his classification of the al-Itqān fi ulum al-Quran, and the second one al-Nuqāya. The both books are for Jalaluddin al-Suyuti, al-Itqān and al-Nuqāya, but the Nuqāya is shorter. It's a very short book, it's mentioning the type of knowledge, while the al-Itqān is a book that is encyclopedia of ulum al-Quran, Quranic science. So, okay, the objectives here just to analyze the method of transmitting Quranic sciences within the West African and specifically northern Nigeria, and to see how he tried to localize and adapt the knowledge into his society. My key question was how Abdullahi changed this a big encyclopedia into 1,200 or something, and what the pedagogical role did this point playing since 19th century up to now? Is this active or not? So this one is just my primary system. As I mentioned, these books, then the chapters. I am trying to compare between the chapters of Sheikh Abdullah and chapters in which in al-Itqān fi ulum al-Quran, and how it becomes after he versified it. So, and now the field observation of how is this work still working? So we go to what we call Makarantun Zawri. Makarantun Zawri, I am just going to talk about them. It is Hausa language. I will talk about it later, so we can see it is traditional excursion. So this just is a historical like background or landscape of pre-Sokoto Nigeria, pre-Sokoto jihad. So we know that in Nigeria, the Arabic writing in Arabic language is backdated to like 800 years by one Abu Ishaq al-Kanemi, who died in the 1212, as mentioned by Hunwick. Then we have to know that the saying or composing a poetry in Nigeria is hallmark of scholarship. Everyone, mostly in the olden times in Nigeria, so the scholar, to become a good scholar, must have must be good in poetry, either normal poetry or or didactic ones. So center of learning is a Borno, as we know, Katsina. We have some people there in Ibn Masana, Ibn Sabbaq, and in Kano we had Abdullahi Suka. All these they had contributed in the versification. For example, Abdullahi Suka in Kano, Atiyat al-Moti, his book is famous, Atiyat al-Moti, and so on. So we have nearly 480 works in different sciences in the Sokoto Jihad, during the Sokoto Jihad, almost also by the jihad leaders. Jihad leaders, they are a couple number, but we have some. We don't know if there are some deep within the society who are writing by this time, but most of the books are from the jihad leaders. So in the second, this is what we call it the first boost of authorship in Nigeria. But the second one later in 20th century by the advent of Faida, Jamaat al-Faida, which are the followers of Sheikh Ibrahim Niass from Senegal. So they also contributed into a lot of, up to now they are continuing. So we are not going to this, we're just going to the, I talk about why they are doing this versification, as we know, the versification mostly is for memorization to help, but I argue here that some of the reasons as mentioned by, we can see from the Mori last in his article, the book in Sokoto Caliphate, he mentioned a lot of problems and of circulation, transmission, writing manuscript and books. He even mentioned that most of the books are like it is not complete and something, and it's only within the elites, either scholars, emirs, and in their maktaba. So we can relate in here. We can relate that Abdullahi ibn Fodio is trying to impose, try to separate or to transmit the knowledge even wider than we know before. So he tried to specify a lot of books. He has a lot of books, so we can call it that it is like democratizing or the knowledge by this time. And we know the situation of jihad. They are going from one place to another, so this one create another problem. We have to deal with it, so we have to go to a classification of such knowledge and books. So who is Abdullahi bin Fodio? As we mentioned, Abdullahi is the youngest brother of Sheikh Usman bin Fodio. Usman bin Fodio is the leader of the jihad, who led the jihad and established House Fulani Emirate in northern Nigeria, almost 14 cities or more than this, many cities conquered by his followers, and changed the rulers or emirs into from Hausa tribe to Fulani scholars. And by this time, so he had been with Sheikh Usman for all times in all battles until they established it. But later, Sheikh Abdullahi, after the days of his brother Sheikh Usman bin Fodio, he went to yesterday Professor Richmond told him that the Sokoto Khalif is divided into western to eastern. Muhammad Bello, the son of Sheikh Usman, is in the west, while the Sheikh Abdullah in the east. So we see that Abdullahi bin Fodio, after the days, immediately after the death, he came to Sokoto to meet, because he is the Grand Vizier. This is what he called. So we are expecting to, after Usman bin Fodio, to be the next Khalif. But the Sokoto people choose Muhammad Bello. He was in Gwandu, far from, when he reached the Sokoto, he found that they already choose Muhammad Bello. So he started like questioning the foundation of the why we are starting. We just, but later this was resolved between him and the other. So this is all what I tried. So by this time he went to seclusion. So he continued teaching and writing books. He also a lot of books during this time, from the time 1817 when his brother died until he died in August 1829. This is some of his books. He also, all these are classification of knowledge certification. Bahar al-Muhit. Bahar al-Muhit is a classification of Jam'ul Jawami and his commentary Ham'ul Hawami. I think it is the longest Alfiya on grammar I ever know. Was over 4,255 verses. Then Diyā Sanad, in Islamic or science of Sufism, Fara'id al-Jalila, Quranic science also, Fara'id al-Jalila. He also Fara'id al-Jalila, after he also Miftah al-Tafsir, Siraj Jami al-Bukhari, Daw al-Musalli, Kifayat al-Tullab fi al-Nikah, Kifayat al-Awam fi al-Buyu, Misbah al-Rawi. In the science, this Misbah al-Rawi is famous. And then there's Zawri schools. Today is one of the the books we read in these schools. Khulasat al-Usul, and of course one Alfiyat al-Usul is Usul al-Fiqh. So we see that in Hausa society, also northern Nigeria, Suyuti is very influenced. It has very strong influence on Islamic literature in northern Nigeria. His books become like the starting point or the advanced one. For example, in the Tafsir, Jalaluddin Suyuti, Tafsir al-Jalalain, in Ulum al-Quran, we did this and so on. So we found that a lot of people have some influence with Suyuti. Among them, Sheikh Abdullahi bin Fodio, he is saying that kuntu bihamdillahi mimman lazama li kutubihi multaqitan wa nazima منها بما أقدرني الإله ربي يعين من لجأ إليه وقد علمت أنه من ساقط فكم لكل ساكت بالله. So he's saying that I clung to his books, reading, versifying. So we can see even this Alfiya Jam'ul Jawami from his Suyuti book. So we see that he even declared that he versified many of them. We can see how he praised him in the introduction of this book in سلالة المفتاح, saying فخاضه قرائه الفهول. سلالة المفتاح is a summarization, مختصر of Alfiyat, this Miftah al-Tafsir. Miftah al-Tafsir is almost 1,200 verses, while Sulalat al-Miftah in around 400 something, some numbers of verses I cannot remember. So فخاضه ومن مبرزيهم السيوطي وهو إمام فنه المنوطي وهو الذي أزال بالإشكال فيه فهذا رتبة الكمال. So this is the translation. He said among their foremost, the Suyuti, who the Imam is the Imam of his all people he entrusted with. So he talked about Suyuti in every aspect. He tried to emulate him. So what is the methodology? Methodology, as well known in the poetry, he is mentioned in one of his books, in the introduction of Bahr al-Muhit. He said, وَرُبَّمَا أَنْقُصُ أَوْ أَزِيدُ لِعِلَّةٍ وَنَيْلِ مَا يُفِيدُ وَرُبَّمَا قَدَّمْتُ أَوْ أَخَّرْتُ لِمُقْتَدٍ دَاءٍ إِلَى مَا اخْتَرْتُ. At the time may I omit more or add for a reason to attain what is beneficial. At the times I may advance or delay, responding to the necessity that calls for my choice. So here we see is clear putting the methodology of his work, and we can see in the example I'm going to present. So this Miftah al-Tafsir, it was also in 1795, so the end of 18th century. This is I clung to the conference because of the restriction of the 18th century. So to 1795, the primary aim of Miftah al-Tafsir is to classify this al-Itqān and al-Nuqāya, and one of its starting point of his books. After this, he did Salalat al-Miftah, then Fara'id al-Jalila, all are in Ulum al-Quran and related to each other. So he mentioned the date. He's saying قد انتهى برحمة المنان ممتلئا لآلئ الإتقان في آن 9 قبلها قرنان من بعد 1000 هجرة العدنان في 1000 بيت بعده 200 وللصلاة بعدها بيتان. So he mentioned even the number of the verses and the year of the yes. So Miftah al-Tafsir, we can see that it is in Bahr al-Rajaz, it's Urjuza, Mustafilun, as we all know. Most of his Arajis is from Bahr al-Rajaz. It is hardly to find this from Abdullahi rather than this poem. Of course, there are some few. But he also has another book very important in the narration of the battles he did, تزيين الورقات بجمع بعض ما لي من الأبيات. He narrated the battles he went, but in a poem and prose. Yeah, very interesting book. Yeah. تزيين الورقات. So this is manuscript of the. I found this one in my university, Cairo University. This is the manuscript. This end, the first, the second, the first page and the ending page. So we can see it is very old. I cannot find exactly the date which it was copied. It's also part of the books. You can see a lot of annotation. Something very interesting that it keeps this even after the printing. But I know that in Nigeria, northern Nigeria, they keep going with these books by writing with their hand, then they print it again. This is why I come with this one. This is a printed version. We studied with this book with my scholar, so you can see just like the older one. It can buy from the souk. This is the book you can see from it. This is, yeah. So it's still sold in the market like this because of this Torah you can benefit. So this one like repetition. but this is introduction and conclusion. In conclusion, you see, in the introduction, وبعد ذا فهاك نظم ضمن بيان أحوال الكتاب معلنة لجمعه ما كان في النقاية منها مع الإتقان فهو الغاية. So he's saying that he's going to specify together Nuqāya and al-Itqān. Al-Itqān فهو الغاية. He is we can translate this into different things. فهو الغاية mean Itqān is like the advanced book in the Ulum al-Quran, or his intention is to specify those books. But if you look at the Nuqāya, he just took only the first part of the book, because in the book he mentioned 14 different Islamic sciences. So he took only one from the beginning and put it together, which is the introduction on theology, Tawheed, Ilahiyat, Sam'iyat, Nubuwat. This is what he did only in Nuqāya. So he didn't take the Nuqāya at all. He just took something to start with al-Ilm al-Tawheed. This is the faharis of all the chapters. Main chapters, we have around 9. Mayarju ila sanad, the matters related to circumstances of revelation and nuzul, matters related to the mode of recitation, ila al-ada, like tajweed and so on. Then matters pertaining wording, particularly as treated in the science al-bayan, figurative expressions. Then matter concerning meaning that connected to legal rules, like al-usul al-fiqh, then matters pertaining to the principle of tools required by the exegete. Then matters related to wording, especially within the science of al-ma'ani, like he's differentiating between this ilm al-bayan and ilm al-ma'ani, and came to in the later. Then we can say AOB, any other matters he put it in the end of the book. But under all this, there are several anwa, because Suyuti in his Itqān mentioned 80 anwa in matters, 80 anwa, while Jalaluddin is Sheikh Abdullahi bin Fodio make it into 70 matters only. He mentioned 70. So this is adding and merging some text together. Here I took one example to show how Sheikh Abdullah versified some part. This is one example he's talking about the verses that had been revealed in the day, or the verses that had been revealed during the night. So, you see, revealed by the night and by day. So, وَأَوَّلُ الْحَجِّ وَأَوْلَ الثَّانِي. We can see that in al-Itqān, Jalaluddin al-Suyuti almost mentioned 14 verses. He took several pages talking about these verses, but Muftah al-Tafsir just put it only, I think it's almost 14 or 15 pages talking about this. But Sheikh Abdullah bin Fodio mentioned it only in 5 verses, so it went to the zero. But I don't know if they are all you can see. وَأَوَّلُ الْحَجِّ وَأَوْزَ الثَّانِي. He mentioned 14 verses, while he mentioned Sheikh Abdullahi mentioned 13. He said وَأَوَّلُ الْحَجِّ وَأَوْزَ الثَّانِي. He mentioned the verses. أول الحج وأوذ تاني فلك والناس, this is the second one. وأول الفتح إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا مثال الثاني. He is the second example. What I mean with second example, it is what revealed, because he said he only talked about the verses that had been revealed during the night. So because the rest of the Quran revealed during the day, he is not going to talk about it. He just mentioned the verses that had been revealed during the night. So he's saying day and night. So night is the second. وهكذا خواتم الإمراني, then last verses من آل إمران. فلا تكن عن ذكرها بلواني. وسورة الأنعام والمنافقين. مريم آية الثلاثة الذين. Maryam is another verse. آية الثلاثة الذين خلفوا from the battle of Tabuka. So Maryam آية الثلاثة الذين. Isn't khuruj niswatin. It is a verse that talk about women to go out and seek some, so they can go out from their houses. So this is another ayah. It was revealed during the night. Wa isma, the protection of the Prophet. Wallahu yasimuka minan nas. It was revealed during the night. So he's mentioning was'al al-qari wa as'alu, the bias and ask. Wa fil qiblati, and the qibla, okay, khulfun thamma. So here we can see he mentioned all the verses together in this just 5 verses. Let's go through. This is how rearrangement of the verses in the original text and versification. We can see how the second one, it is, this one is arranged, this one is one from this, taking it. Yeah. So this is how the versification of Sheikh Abdullah became. Okay, this is Makaratan Zawri. Zawri is, we can see Zawri schools reception. You can say reception of the house. Immediately when you enter the house, the first room you find, we call it Zawri or Soro in Hausa language. So usually these schools took place there. So they call Makarantun Zawri, the school of Zawri. So here we can see how the scholar sit down within the then all the students came to him and recite his translate onto the end. All these sort about. I'm just giving example of this Sheikh. He is famous with teaching of Miftah al-Tafsir, and his student continues teaching it up to now. We can see this is type how he So this is Ishirinia. It's from Ishirinia. So how to look at how the people, all one come in these books. So this, just because of the time, I have to skip. This one is also audio from the Miftah Tafsir. I mentioned it from this year.
فيه أسماء وأسماء الصور لكلها وجه ومعنى استقر وأحكي الذي بجملة وأعرف بلا صرف بفعل عن ضمير قد خلا وقطع.
This is translation I just skip. So this is because of time. I don't have a little time. So I think my aims, and what I have tried to say has ended by this conclusion that is created, and the poem is still live, continuing within the Nigerian society. Since it is talk about poem, I just this one verses. وننتهى تقديم هذا البحث. شكرا على استماعكم والمقصد.
Thank you, Dahir, for this wonderful presentation. It's nice to see that you remind us of the fact that poetry and didactic knowledge, that it's part of a living tradition and is still going on today. So it's wonderful to see, and it's a pity that you had to cut it short. But as to allow ourselves room for some questions, which undoubtedly there will be some of. So please. Yes, Paula.
Just a quick question on the video you showed us. So is someone reciting the poem and someone else is checking in the manuscript if everything is correct? Is this how it works, or?
Yeah, no. No. The way it is going, that like just the student will come and do like an halqa like this. The post student will start reciting. Then when he recites, the scholar translate and like make some comment, elaborate some issues. Continue up to the end. Then we finish the next one. But in this time, in this school, in this type of school, you can come with your own books. I want to read Ulum al-Quran and Hadith only. But my friend is reading Hadith and Sirah. So I bought this together. Whenever he opened his Ustad, then I open me too. So it is like a very complicated You can see that a lot of book with Ibn one. So some he's just reading 2 books or 3. But he's the only one has the books. Sometimes the scholar can have a book and he tried to say, oh no, this is not correct, what you have said is not correct. This is how it works.
Yes, perhaps if you allow me, it's interesting to see, because if you think about didactic poetry, you think how it's economical for the student to memorize them, but you also seem to suggest in the beginning that it's also interesting and economic in a different way, that when the source text, the prose source text is a bit expensive or is dangerous or difficult to be transmitted completely, then the didactic poetry is also a good way to summarize the contents and to transmit it safely, so there's also an economic reason.
Yes, there is economic reason behind it. I know that in Nigeria, even in recent times, there's a culture of writing Quran with hand. So if you write a Quran, complete Quran with your hand, and you want to sell it, it will cost a lot of money, even today. Yeah. So if you compare with this time, with the last time, as Mori last mentioned, I mentioned yesterday that to buy a book, it is like to buy one servant. One servant. A servant would yeah.
Okay.
By this time it's so expensive.
Yeah.
We have the paper come from Italy through Tunis or Morocco to up to the West Africa through Timbuktu to Nigeria. So it is expensive. And it will take a long time to produce one copy. Yep. Nigeria, relatively, even within the up to early 20th century, when we know about the books becoming like popular and with everyone printed one. So it is late. Yep. Yeah. Sure. I don't know any books from before the coming of the British. I don't know the books that have been printed within our country to Nigeria as a printed. All the manuscript even the scholars who wrote books within the olden books like Ash'aru Shu'ara Sitta and so on, they are in manuscript.
Yeah.
Yes. So in manuscript, yeah, of course.
Okay. Yes.
I have a question about so you compared one version and then the other, the version in verse. So the second version was shortened, right? It's Mukhtasar, you said.
Yeah, the second one I didn't talk about it because it is different book. It is Mukhtasar. After he versified al-Itqān in 1,000 verse, some student asked him, this one is so long, can you summarize it? So he summarized it in 400 verses. So it was Sulalatul Miftah, like the yes.
Because you remember, so you did a chart where you compared. So this was the order, the original order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the order is changed.
No, in the order of the abwab of the chapters did not change, but he merged some of them into others. I didn't do I didn't finish, but I went through. I see how many verses I didn't mention it here, but I followed the chart.
Okay, so
I
just trying to understand, is there a selection, or is it just that he really takes the same content, but he sort of
what I know that he took the same content and merge it together with others. He sees that it can relate in this, it can relate in this, and some of them he left it as like it is not relevant to his student. As you can see, even in this verse I mentioned, he removed one verse which Suyuti mentioned, but even Suyuti mentioned that it is not authentic hadith that related that this ayah is revealed within the night. I think Surah Al-Ma'un or something like that. He didn't mention it here, and this omitted this verse. Surah Al-Mursalat omitted because his authenticity is doubted. So he said he didn't mention it. But when I went to the al-Itqān, I see that al-Itqān mentioned the verse, but he said it is not authentic hadith. So Abdullah omitted it already. So maybe we can find this even in the sequence, but the sequence of the abwab and anwa almost the same.
Yes, Hisham.
So, while talking about his methodology, he said like أنقص أو أزيد, right?
Yes.
And you already given us some examples about his omissions,
Yes.
the nightly and daily
Yes.
edition, right? So I wonder, what about the azidu action? Like, what did he? Is there something new that he introduced to the versified rendering of his al-Itqān?
And al-Itqān, he added, I said, Suyuti, he didn't mention anything related to Tawheed in his introduction. But in the post after introduction, Shaykh Abdullahi bin Fodio brings something about at-Tawheed. Then he talk about ilahiyat, nubuwat, then sam'iyat, al-jannatu wal-nar, and so on. Then he talk about ma ma'ana ilm al-tafsir, the meaning of tafsir. So this, I think this part is among the example that he Tafsir added. It is from another books I know, but the meaning of ma huwa tafsir, I think it is not in the Miftah Tafsir. And he added something from ilm al-khatt at the end of the manzuma, ilm al-khatt also. Yeah, which I didn't think Suyuti talk about it in the al-Itqān. Yes.
And these explanations, that these juxtapositional explanations that we find under the verse, in which language?
Very important. Somehow it is from the al-Itqān. You can compare this Torah. If you went like I say that it is just like sign to you remember that this ayah is from this. For example, when you say as-salasat al-lazid, maybe you cannot. What the meaning of salasat? You can add alladhina khulifu an ghazwat Badr, ghazwat Tabuk. The sword is very important. Even now, we don't like to buy the printed one because all this Torah will disappear from the printed one.
And all of these Torah are in Arabic?
Are in Arabic, all in Arabic.
So only an Arabic audience was interested in this work, right?
Yes.
There is no local languages, for example, in Nigeria?
They are mostly in Borno. I know Kanembu, even Kanembu come from them, some mixed from Arabic and Kanem language, which is, I found it in old Quran we scanned it last 2 years ago in Kano, which they are saying it is almost 300 years, which is quite strange in northern Nigeria. But already we scanned it and we found this in the Quran, all the Quran. Some words are in Arabic, some words are in Kanem. I think one of the scholars here in Beirut, I cannot remember his name, when we sent the copy of the one page, he said, this one is old, because even this Kanembu language had disappeared. Now it is no longer spoken. Yes.
Thank you very much. I think this example is so impressive. So one is really, because one learns everything, one knows all these 13 verses, and so one is wondering, as-Suyuti, actually, what did he write more about it, apart from, okay, the 14th that even is not, the authority is doubted, but what else? He could write all, not only
14,
words,
like 10 pages about this. You mean? Yes, but here you cannot understand it without someone telling you. So all this information was removed by Shaykh Abdullahi bin Fodio. I check what he wrote, as you said. Most of these are hadiths, that's traditions, and sometimes the one who narrated it, and some linguistic element to have to clarify. All he omitted this because he said it's not. Since he wants you to remember the exact ayat, so he said, just he mentioned the ayat. So the tradition of teaching in the Zawri system, the scholar is trying to awwal al-hajj. It was narrated by so because he read the, so you can grasp the text.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dahir.
Okay.